Welcome to Budo Belly, where martial arts and healthy aging come together. I'm a middle-aged combat sports athlete sharing what I've learned about fitness, weight loss, injury recovery, and staying active for life. If you've recently had surgery and your doctor tells you that you're healed, there's something important I'd like you to understand. Healing is not the same thing as being ready for sport. Unfortunately, that's a lesson I learned the hard way. A few years ago, I underwent hernia surgery. Like many active people, I was eager to get back to training as soon as possible. My surgeon cleared me to return to activity, and I assumed that meant I could gradually work my way back to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. On paper, everything looked great. The incisions had healed, the pain was gone, the restrictions had been lifted. I had been progressing with my strength and conditioning and was almost back to my pre-surgery routine. I thought I was ready. But what I didn't understand at the time was that there's a huge difference between being medically cleared and being prepared for the physical demands of a combat sport. Those are two very different things. Many surgeons are excellent at repairing injuries and getting patients through surgery, but most are not coaches, strength and conditioning specialists, or combat sport athletes. Their job is to determine whether the repair is healed appropriately, not whether you're prepared to scramble, bridge, twist, lift, wrestle, or spar. That's where many active people get into trouble. When we hear the words, "you're healed," we often translate that into, "I'm ready to return to normal." But returning to sport requires more than healed tissue. It requires rebuilding. You have to rebuild strength. You have to rebuild endurance. You have to rebuild your mobility. And you have to rebuild your coordination. And perhaps most importantly, you have to rebuild your body's tolerance to stress. During recovery, even if you're staying active, your body is adapting to a lower level of physical demand. Certain muscles become weaker. Movement patterns change. Conditioning declines. You may not notice it in everyday life, but your sport will notice. Combat sports are particularly demanding because they combine strength, endurance, explosiveness, awkward positions, rotational strength, and unpredictability. In Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, for example, you can't always control the pace. You can't always choose the positions. You may find yourself twisting, bridging, posting, or defending against forces you didn't anticipate. The body needs time to prepare for those demands. Looking back, I wish I had spent more time focusing on reconditioning before returning to training. Not because I wasn't healed, but because healing alone wasn't enough. This isn't just a lesson for people recovering from hernia surgery. It applies to knee surgeries, shoulder surgeries, back injuries, and many other setbacks. The question isn't simply, has the tissue healed? The better question is, have I rebuilt the capacity to do my sport safely? Those are two very different questions. One of the things I've come to appreciate as I've gotten older is that recovery is not a race. There's no trophy for being the first person back on the mats. There's no medal for rushing your return. But there can be consequences if you come back before your body's truly ready. Today, if I were guiding someone through a return to sport after surgery, I would encourage them to think in phases. First, heal. Let your body rest, but regarding movement and exercises, focus only on walking as tolerated. Then restore movement, beginning with gentle mobility exercises. Then rebuild strength. Use some light resistance bands, do modified bodyweight exercises, introduce some gentle core work. Then rebuild conditioning. Begin to add some more weight, walk for longer distances, go on a ruck using light weight. Then gradually return to sport-specific activities. Introduce some solo BJJ drills or shadow boxing, do some very light Turkish get-ups, jump rope, do some road work in small doses. And only after all of that should you consider returning to full training intensity. It may take longer than you expect, and it would be wise to err on the side of caution. If you feel ready, Wait another few weeks before ramping up the volume or intensity. Remember that as combat sport athletes, our baseline fitness and load tolerance is significantly higher than the average patient. So, what feels normal to us is often quite strenuous to others. But in the long run, it may save you from the setbacks that cost far more time. If you're recovering from surgery right now, I'd encourage you to be patient with yourself. Respect the healing process, but also respect the reconditioning process. Remember that you need to put as much discipline into your recovery as you put into your training, because healing and sport readiness are not the same thing. And understanding that difference may be one of the most important lessons you'll learn during recovery. For more detail, I've linked the accompanying article from BudoBelly.com in the description below. If you face similar challenges with training, injury recovery, or staying active as you've gotten older, let me know in the comments. And if you'd like more content on combat sports, fitness, and healthy aging, please subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.